The following program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
A reasonable prosecutor would charge crooked Hillary Clinton after she set up a secret illegal server to hide her family's pay-for-play schemes, crammed it full of classified information, allowed it to be plundered by foreign hackers, you know that happened, and then deleted, acid-washed, 30,000 emails. Think of that. 30,000 emails. And what else did she do? Boom, with a hammer, smashed her phone systems to smithereens after receiving the highest level of subpoena from the U.S. Congress. Think of that. Think of that. Yet now these same people, the exact same people, are sending the FBI storming through the home of their number one political rival. It's a disgrace like possibly never before. Our country's never seen anything like it. They talk about documents not being properly stored, yet they go in and take documents, dump them on the floor, stage a photo shoot, and pretend that I had done it, like I had put them all over the floor. They took that back after a lot of prodding. Then they put out for public consumption a picture which is seen all over the world. This is what they do. It's called disinformation. These are very dishonest, sick people. Very dishonest people.
Yep, that's a crowd chanting "Lock her up" about Hillary Clinton for mishandling classified documents at a Trump rally in front of Donald Trump. Just let that marinate for a second. Now, I'm not sure if they've had a chance to check out any news that isn't Newsmax or OAN, but the Justice Department has now recovered over 300 classified documents from Mar-a-Lago, including 4 empty folders where classified documents used to be, which I'm sure is something that these Trump supporters would have totally been fine with if the tables were turned. I'm sure if Barack Obama went home with 300 classified documents and the feds found almost 50 empty folders, that the GOP would have just given Obama the benefit of the doubt and expected that he did what was right and that no nefarious behavior was committed. Right? Anyone? In fact, we don't have to guess because the fact is that the right is still, now, today, almost 7 years later, hyperventilating about Hillary Clinton mishandling all of three classified documents from a private server. That's less than 1% of what Trump was found to have had at his little beach resort, and yet, while that's apparently still the gravest national security threat this country's ever faced, Trump's actions were apparently completely justifiable, in case you were wondering what cognitive dissonance looked like. And if you're one of those people suggesting that actually what Trump did was fine because Mar-a-Lago is secure, consider the fact that a Russian-speaking woman posing as a member of the Rothschild banking family was able to not only infiltrate Mar-a-Lago, but snap a photo with these two idiots in a display of the prowess of Mar-a-Lago's security. It took some young woman all of one day to figure out how to get into Mar-a-Lago, where these classified documents were being stored, not to mention get an audience with Trump himself. So yeah, maybe not the best idea to leave our nation's most closely guarded secrets in the house of the guy whose claim to fame while he was first running for president was that he couldn't stop doling out hush money for payments for various affairs with other young women. Trump goes on to give maybe one of the most unintentionally hilarious lines I've ever heard.
They talk about documents not being properly stored, yet they go in and take documents, dump them on the floor, stage a photo shoot, and pretend that I had done it, like I had put them all over the floor.
Yeah, that's what we mean by documents not being properly stored. In fact, it was the FBI that committed the real crime because the only people truly guilty of mishandling classified documents were the FBI when they sprawled them across the floor for a photo. Definitely not Trump because, you see, when he had those stolen classified documents in Mar-a-Lago, they were put away neatly, and so apparently that makes it not a crime. It only became a crime when the FBI took them out and were sloppy with them. So actually, the FBI would be charged. Sound ridiculous? Yeah, then you probably wouldn't enjoy going to a Trump rally. Like, just so we're clear, because apparently some people still aren't grasping this, the issue is not the neatness with which the stolen classified material was stored, It was the fact that the material was stolen. That's it. It doesn't matter if it was held in a safe within a safe within a safe. They were stolen. If you robbed a bank and put the money in a hiding place so good that the cops couldn't find it, do you think they would come to you and say, "Job well done. Thank you for keeping that cash safe"? No, you would get arrested because the money is stolen. The improperly stored part isn't about where you hide your stolen property, it's that you stole that property to begin with. And then Trump acknowledges the photo that the DOJ put out showing, right there, as clear as day, the cover letters of those classified documents recovered from Mar-a-Lago. And what does Trump call it? Disinformation. It is a photo from his property, gaudy carpet and all, with government documents that denote the classification levels, and yet somehow that photographic proof is disinformation? If you were wondering what gaslighting looked like, it is this guy telling his supporters not to believe their own eyes. Just ask yourself this: if that same exact photo was released from Barack Obama's house, do you think those people would call it disinformation? Do you think those people would absolve Obama? Do you think they would claim that the real issue is how sloppily they were laid out for the evidence photo? Do you think they would pretend not to understand who would be at fault for stolen classified documents? Because I'm not trying to give those Trump supporters too much credit here, but I think they'd be able to properly answer all of those questions. And just one last point here. I want to play a clip from Trump's rally that I think is especially telling.
This week, Joe Biden came to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to give the most vicious, hateful, and divisive speech ever delivered by an American president, vilifying 75 million citizens plus another probably 75 to 150, if we want to be accurate about it, as threats to democracy and as enemies of the state. You're all enemies of the state. He's an enemy of the state.
And why is this important? Because Joe Biden stood up in Philadelphia just days ago and gave a speech warning about the dangers of a faction of Republicans and their embrace of fascism, extremism, and violent rhetoric. And the right and the media clutched their pearls because Joe Biden promised unity, and yet here he is deigning to acknowledge objective reality that Trumpism poses a threat when what he should be doing is only discussing unifying things like puppies and rainbows. And yet now, 24 hours later, Trump calls Joe Biden an enemy of the state, and here I am waiting for all those op-eds about the dangers posed by the leader of that party, yet again debuting dangerous rhetoric. Here I am waiting for the same pearl clutching about divisive rhetoric. If you wanted a prime example of the curve that Trump and Republicans are graded on, it's this. Republicans are expected to lie, to cheat, to steal, to foment violence, to not accept election results, and to discard the tenets of democracy. And so when they inevitably do any of those things, the media doesn't flinch because that's the baseline. But when a Democrat dares raise their voice above a 3, well, watch out, because it's going to be non-stop fainting spells from CNN to Fox to Donald Trump himself. Because lest you forget, it's always both sides. So look, I don't intend to breathlessly cover Trump's rallies, but the idea of an audience chanting "lock her up" about Hillary Clinton for doing 1/1000th of what Trump quite literally just did, and none of these people recognizing the abject hypocrisy is worth showing. Because if you're on the fence about who to vote for, ask yourself if you really want to be on the team where the self-awareness registers at a 0.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Oh, glad to see everybody here. So, hope you're having a great weekend here. This Labor Day weekend, and some nice weather. Meeting up with family and friends. barbecues, the kids playing, breaking things, vandalizing, you know, usual stuff. You know how kids are. Oh boy, those days are nice. Of course, now with most of my family gone, and you know, and I don't have that many friends around here and stuff. You know, these days come and go like days on the calendar. They just don't mean anything anymore now. So, you know, I reminisce a little bit about how things were, the good old days. And I think back to the times when they were good old days, and how even when we were kids and we do stuff that was rotten, we could still look back on it and kind of be happy that we lived those days and did all those things, because they were good days. And even though our parents wanted to beat the shit out of us for the things we did, we still look fondly on those days, because you know, the reality of being an adult and living in the world is just too much at times. You know, more than our parents could ever prepare us for. And sometimes it feels better to just go back to being, you know, a kid and being innocent, not knowing all these things. You know, not knowing sometimes is bliss. But we can't bury our heads in the sand, can we? A lot of people try, but the butt that's sticking up in the air gets kicked, you know, when they're not paying attention. So I've been getting, like, you know, messages and stuff like that from different people on Twitter and stuff like that, asking me questions about, you know, how can you be so angry at your country at times, and then say that, you know, you love it, and you know, be patriotic and everything. So I had to think about that, because, you know, apparently, you know, I've answered this question a couple times before, and apparently my answers don't seem to make much sense. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to lay out the answer in a way that might be simplistic in people's eyes, but it might help people to relate better on to what I'm feeling, instead of what, you know. So let me start this here and say that our country, the United States of America, is a great country. Just like when you go to the most, you know, the favorite store you like to shop in. Let's say there's a mall, a big mall, this huge friggin' mall, okay? And it's got everything. We'll call this the United States of America Mall, okay? It's got everything in there, anything you could possibly want. All the restaurants, all kinds of food, all kinds of gift shops, all kinds of clothing stores, all kinds of toy stores. You name it, this place has got it, everything. And you love going there, all the time going there. And so you make a habit of going there, and the people that know you there, they say, "Hi Jeff, how you doing?" You know, and they're friendly, and you make friends there, and you know, you got family there, and you got, you know, all kinds of, you know, things to make you happy are there, okay? Things to make you happy, okay? But the only times that I'll ever get mad at the mall is when they rearrange everything, okay? Because you know how nice it is when you go into a store and you know where everything is, right? Because it makes the shopping go quicker, okay, like a grocery store. And then one day, the manager gets up the hair up his butt to turn around and change all the aisles. Well, that irks the hell out of me, because now I have to search for everything I want. I can't find everything in an instant when I need it. So now I gotta waste more time, okay? But I still like shopping there because the prices and the selections of food and everything. Okay, I still like being there, and then of course the people that work there. Okay, and that's kind of like the United States. You know, I love being in the United States, but I get so pissed off when they try to change things around. When they start tampering with stuff. When there was no problem before, but now they made a problem. Okay, they put stuff here that shouldn't be there. Or they moved it, or they closed out a store and replaced it with some other kind of store. You know what I'm saying? I get pissed about that. But I love going to the mall. You know, I love being there, and I love going to this mall. Okay? That's kind of the way I feel about our country. It's like I love coming to America. Okay? It's a great place. It's got everything that, you know, your heart desire. You know, it's like Disneyland. But you like, stop fucking with it. You know, stop messing around with it. Stop, you know, taking things away that people like. All right? And that's what I mean about getting mad at America. It's not so much that I'm getting mad at America as a concept. What I'm getting mad at is the people in America who are trying to chip away at the concept. That's who I'm really mad at. So yes, I do say, yes, I'm pissed off at America. I don't really mean it that way, and I shouldn't say it that way, but what I'm really saying is I'm mad at the people living in America, you know, at some of the people living in this country who are out there trying to disrupt what makes this country such a special place to live. Okay? And you know, up to this point, it's been Republicans who have, for some reason, don't seem to like this country or like this mall, but yet they live here or they shop here. Okay? And they're always in here, but for them, it's like the mall will never be enough, or will never look right to them. But their idea of a mall is not very nice. Okay, it's a mall that doesn't really, it's not very inclusive. They have, you know, another way of wanting to live and use this store, this mall. Okay. And that's my disagreement comes, is that's where my anger comes, is when people are in there and they're trying to change the whole principle of this mall. Okay? They're trying to make it less community friendly and a little more, exclusive to certain people. Okay? Like they want to shut the door on certain people and only let certain folks come to this mall that meet their criteria. Okay, that to me isn't a free country or free mall. You know what I'm saying? You can't go around saying we're a free nation when you have people that are getting their way by closing doors in this country, and it takes away the whole concept of why this mall was built. Okay. I mean, are you following me here? I mean, are you getting this? I hope you are, because I really hope that this explanation, as weird and abstract and simplistic as it might seem, it is how, in a way, I feel about it. Okay, and this mall is a mall everybody wants to be able to shop at. Okay. Because they hear all the stories about everything that's there, and they're just like, oh, geez, I would love to go see that mall. I'd love to go to that mall. And of course, I'm talking about people who live in other countries who want to come and immigrate here. But let's look at these people as shoppers who, live far away and they can't get to this mall. They're like, I'd love to come to that mall. I want to see it. I want to see what everybody's, had about it. Maybe, I can move closer to it so I could come to the mall all the time, right? And so, but what you got these selfish people inside the mall who are saying, No, we only want certain people in here. We don't want everybody coming to this mall. We don't want that. We don't need that. Okay. Some of these people, you know, they're troublemakers. You know, you bring them in the mall and they'll vandalize the stores, or they'll come in here and they'll rob you and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They'll create trouble. So it makes a lot of these people that want to come to this mall feel like, you know, the United States is not very nice. Or this mall is not very nice mall, okay? And maybe I don't want to go in there. Maybe I don't want to go into this place. You know, maybe it's not as great as they say it is. And that's kind of hurtful in a way. Because I'm the kind of guy that, you know, if I see something that's great, I want people to know about it, and I'd like them to experience what I experience, okay? I'd like for other people to go to those places that I go to. And when I talk to people online, okay, and I tell them about the United States, and I tell them about the things that are here, they get excited about coming here. They want to see New York City. They want to see all these places that I've been. And then I hear about people in our government, you know, locking doors, closing doors up so they can't come into this country, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, what right do they have? Okay? You know, these people, they come here, a lot of them probably aren't going to come here to stay here, but they'd like to come here just to visit and stuff like that. And if they like it, they may want to try to stay here. Who knows? But it's like buying a car. You want to kick the tires around, take it out for a little bit of a drive, see how it feels, okay? Not everybody that comes across the border into this country is going to come here to stay here, all right? Yeah, and a lot do. A lot of them do. Some people don't even get the chance to try out the car before they buy it, because they're desperate to get away from wherever the hell where they are, and so they try to come here, you know, as an escape. But we shouldn't deny people, because every person has their own reasons for wanting to come into this country. And nobody should feel like they're being excluded because of who they are or what they are, or, you know, where they're from. Okay, that's wrong, because if we started doing shit like that in this country, like you can't ride this bus because of who you are, what you are, or where you're from, how long do you think that rule is going to last before that gets challenged by the rest of the country because it's discriminatory? You see what I'm saying? So if we're going to allow discrimination to exist at the border, then why are we so pissed off when somebody exercises that principle in a school or in a bus or in a hospital or something like that, you know, where it has no place in a country that's supposed to be free to all? You know what I'm saying? It has equality. Okay, when it has no equality, how can you justify that? Okay, but that to me seems to be like a thing that's really what's going on, is that we have people in government who feel perfectly fine about being discriminatory when it comes to immigration. Okay, and then what they say about it is really the lighthearted version of what they really feel about it. You don't want to know what they think about people in other countries coming here. You don't want to fucking know what they think about that, because the nasty shit they would say about people coming into this country from Mexico would turn your stomach, as to the reasons why they wouldn't let Mexicans or Cubans or people from the Middle East come into this country. Okay, their racism is buried underneath, but they try to cloud over it with high-sounding words, or, you know what I'm saying, just noise, basically, static, which doesn't really mean a damn thing to them. It's just a way of covering up their bigotry. So when they start doing this to the mall here, making it like that, the mall really starts to lose its appeal, doesn't it? You want it to go back to the way things were. You want it to be the mall it once was, okay? And you want to protect it so that the way the mall stays good. And that's the way I am. That's the way I'm about the United States government and the country. Okay, I love the country, okay? But the government is always tampering with the country. You know what? They always are tampering with the country. And that's the part that frustrates the hell out of me, okay? I've got no trouble living in this country. I just have a problem when somebody wants to keep changing the goddamn recliner I'm sitting in all the time. Leave it alone, okay? It's fine. Okay? Don't screw it up. Okay, let's go to a commercial break here.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me. This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Once upon a time, in a place called Mzansi, the people loved driving cars everywhere. They used lots and lots of electricity and chopped down many trees for firewood. And then a very strange thing happened. The weather began to change. In some places there were droughts where before there was rain. In other places the rivers flooded. The grown-ups realized they were contributing to the strange weather. They discovered if they used clean energy and less electricity, they could save Mzansi for their children.
What happened then?
How the story unfolds is up to each and every one of us. Switch off, recycle, change. Help save tomorrow, today.
What about someone who was raped by somebody who was, 14 years old as a victim? Why not allow that person to have an abortion?
I've talked to some other legislators about this, and they've met the same people that I've met who've told their story of once this child knew they were in their second or third trimester, and I am that child, that I've talked to those people who were the child of a rape victim, and the bond that those two people made, and the fact that out of that tragedy there was healing through that baby, it's something that we don't think about.
Trump is bad for the party. I disagree with you. I think President Trump is good for the party.
What is your reaction to hearing what Donald Trump says?
Disgusted. And he doesn't have the temperament or judgment to control himself when he gets mad. He's a jackass. Donald Trump is the most unelectable Republican I've seen in my lifetime. And I'm a Republican and he's not. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office. He doesn't represent my party, and he shouldn't be commander-in-chief. We found something in common. I've come to like him, and he likes him.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So, again, I hope everybody understands now what I mean when I'm talking about love of country. So, let me, some local news here. I should have talked about local news. Got some good request for more of it, I guess, from a friend of mine here. On the front page here, and this is from the Penobscot Times, one of the title, or one of the top pages, it says, a new $78 million building will help UMaine boost number of engineering grads. Okay, which is good for the University of Maine. Next thing, Old Town sues its neighbor Milford over ambulance service fees. And if anybody has ever had been taken to the hospital in an ambulance, you know it ain't cheap. Okay, they charge through the nose for a fucking ambulance. Makes you wonder why people even bother to call these fuckers. City of Old Town is suing neighbor Milford, claiming the town owes it more than $48,000 in fees for ambulance services it provided last year. The suit, which was filed in Penobscot Superior Court last week, represents an escalation of a conflict over ambulance services between the two neighbors that has been brewing for more than a year. Milford last year decided to stop relying on Old Town's ambulance service and instead acquire and staff an ambulance of its own, citing an increase in calls that had left Old Town's ambulance crews stretched thin and sometimes unable to respond to calls in Milford. Well, look, let me say something here. Most people don't know Old Town and Milford, but the two towns are like basically butt to butt with each other. It almost looks like one big fucking town. Okay, the only thing there's a river that runs down through it a little bit. That's sort of like a barrier or a line drawn in the sand between the towns, but the bridge is there, you know, so people can go over it. And Milford, I don't think Milford ever really had an ambulance service there. I don't know. I could be wrong. You know, my memory of the place only goes back to the 80s, but I don't think they ever really had one. And they always relied on Old Town to come to their aid, which isn't that far. I mean, it'd take them from where the fire station sits in relation to Milford. I mean, it takes them less than a minute to get over there to Milford, okay? So, I don't understand why Old Town just didn't have more ambulances. Okay, why they didn't get more ambulances, because already they're being stretched thin just taking care of Old Town. Well, that tells me right there that they're running too thin as it is. Okay, and right in the town that I live in Veazey, which is 3-4 miles up the road further, they got rid of ambulance and the fire station even. Okay, they have a fire truck there, but they don't respond to any calls. Okay, instead they kept the police part of that building, but the fire trucks and all that, they're just sitting there, which is you know, I don't understand what's going on. Maybe it's because town budgets are tightening up tighter than they hoped or something. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on here about that. But the fact is that Old Town has always been there for Milford too, because like I said, Milford and Old Town almost are like the same part of the same goddamn community. I mean, it's just, you know, you wouldn't even know where the separation line is. And so they got a picture here of the Old Town Fire Department here, the front of it right here. And as you could see, they've only got 2 ambulances here. Now, how in the hell do they expect to take care of a town as big as Old Town with just 2 fucking ambulances? Okay, I'll tell you something else about the fire station in Old Town. They went and got, and I think it's pictured here, yeah, over here, there's this great big fire truck here, and it has a ladder. It's designed to be extended up to, what, 10, 15 stories up? Okay, it's a fire truck that's made for a big city. Okay, and they actually had to widen the entrance for that truck because it was the same height as these two, but this one wasn't high enough, so they had to actually go and gut this one to make room to back this truck in there. Okay, well, that's overkill because there ain't a building in Old Town that's over 4 stories tall. Okay, they were able to take care of anything in Old Town with the truck that they had, but instead they decided to go out and buy this big huge one. Now, because they have it, that truck is being called all over the fucking place in that area. You know, Bangor, Old Town, Milford, Veazey, Bradley, you know, that it's everywhere. It's everywhere all the time because it's, you know, everybody wants that truck. Well, whenever that damn truck isn't there, the only other fire truck that's there is just a regular one, and then you got the 2 ambulances. Well, that's seriously understaffed. Okay, or that's underprepared. They don't have enough there. They for a town like Old Town, they should have at least 3 ambulances there, and get rid of the ladder truck. They don't need that, and just replace it with a regular fire truck. You know, and that should help. But you know, the thing is they don't. You know, because they got to take care of Milford too. You know. So I feel like, well, if Milford is going to go out and get their own ambulance service, then I say good. Because apparently Old Town doesn't want to do it. They don't want to expand on their fire station. And so, you know, screw them. You know, Milford can go and get their own ambulance and take care of things that way, you know. In fact, while they're at it, they might as well see if they can build their own fire station as well, because Milford might be needed to help put fires out in Old Town because the goddamn fire station there ain't working, you know. All right, so let's see here. Another thing here. Bangor Dental Clinic is seeing more patients after the expansion of main care coverage, which is nice. You know, a lot of people in this area here have bad teeth. Okay, just tell a joke and watch them smile. You're going to see how bad their teeth are. My grandparents had false teeth they got false teeth when they were in their 50s. You know, people around here don't take good care of their teeth, but so we definitely need more of a dental. What I wish they would do is expand on the veterinarian side of things, because we have a shortage of veterinarians in the state. We need to have more because, you know, people in Maine love pets, and some people have more pets than they need, you know, and they could use help. And there's only, and the veterinarians that are here are charging through the fucking nose because they know they need us. So we can ask any price we want and they'll come. So I think, you know, more people need to, you know, be veterinarians around here because there's a demand for it big time. Here's another issue here about fire trucks. Herman spends $50,000 for a used fire truck because its new one is delayed. Okay, you see another town, another area here where there isn't enough services here. Okay, so they're going to buy a used fire truck because the one they bought has been delayed in delivery. And speaking of delivery, here's an article here that says you'll get your UPS packages faster thanks to new cargo flights at Bangor International Airport. Woo! So there shouldn't be much delay on UPS packages, which makes sense because everybody these days is relying heavily on online shopping, which is what's killing a lot of stores, the smaller ones anyway. And so there's UPS, I've noticed, has been everywhere a lot, you know, these last, you know, several months, I guess. And there's just such a high demand now. I mean, I know that's the way things are going to go into the future, is more people are going to do their shopping online. And I'm going to give you a little story about that. I mean, I go to Best Buy. You go into Best Buy here at the Bangor Mall area, and they got a very skimpy supply of things, okay? If you go on their online store, you're going to find a much bigger selection of things to buy that the local store doesn't have. But you can order stuff online, and it can be either sent to the store in your area or sent to you directly. And so there's been some things that I've had to buy from Best Buy online. Of course, I have a credit card to that store, and you can earn points. You know, you get like a $5 off certificate or a $10 off certificate, depending on how much you buy, you know, which is nice, okay? But I use it, and I had to use it to get, you know, a little speaker bar, because they only sell the big ones in the fucking store, and I didn't want one of their $200 fucking speaker bars there for my TV. So I looked online, and they had a small one for $75. I'm thinking, well, that's what I want. But I had to order it through them. And so I got it yesterday, and I hooked it up. So that's that. Bangor's new tennis courts should be ready by next summer. Yeah, I don't see people playing tennis around here that much. But it gives people something to do, I suppose. The 4 tennis courts that stood next to Bangor High School will be replaced by a 6-court facility that is expected to be finished next summer. Maybe it's more for the school than it is for the general public. Okay, yeah, so anyway, that's that. Some of the things in the Scott Times. I used to deliver this paper when I was a kid in high school. had quite a paper route because I went all the way into Bradley with it. And I got that job, which I had for a year because I was saving money to go to Disneyland. And that was going to be my spending money, you know. And I accumulated between $500 and $600 in that year's time delivering that paper. And I had a lot of papers. Like I said, I went all the way into Bradley. I had a friend who delivered the Bangor Daily News, and he did that through his whole school. It's in time in school, and he always had money on him to buy all kinds of things. You know, his father worked at the mill in Old Town, and he was hardly ever home, so the kid was raising himself at home, so he had to buy his own food and everything like that. So he needed that job for a lot of things. And but you know, delivering papers in this state in the wintertime is a bitch. Okay, it's a bitch. And I'll tell you, when it's cold out and the snow is up to your knees, and it's, you know, people want their paper delivered right to the fucking door, so when they open it they don't have to walk out into the snow, but you have to do it for them. You know, hey, they won't buy the paper from you if they can't get that one little caveat there in what they want. So you have to bite your tongue and do it, you know. I used to use a snow sled, like the ones that kids buy. Not a toboggan, but just a regular sled. And I would stack all the papers in that because you can use the snow to make the you know, to instead of having a wagon with wheels, which would only slow you down more, use the sled. You can just pull it, and it's just as easy as pulling a fucking wagon, you know, and you don't have to worry about getting stuck in the snow because the snow is what you want. So, I did that, and I got to know a lot of people because every week I would go around to collect you know, the money that they owed me for the week or something, you know, for the week that I delivered. And then I'd wait for the guy from the Penobscot Times building to come by, and I'd give him his share of my profits, and then that was it. Easy, you know, easy as pie. There's nothing to it. And that's when Penobscot Times was in the old building down in where the hell what the name of that road is. It's right across the road from that elderly home in Old Town, that big one there that's like 6-7 floors, I guess. No, maybe not 7, but probably 5 or 6 floors high. Right across the street there, but now that's something else. I think it's like a bottle redemption center or something like that. They don't use it for the newspaper. They have a new building now that they operate from. And so, you know, that's what, you know, but even then that building was old when I was in there using it. So that's what I did. That's before I got my job at Ames department store in Orono. That was like a year of hell for the people that worked in that store because I broke more stuff than I put on the floor. And over there, the problem wasn't so much the cold as it was the heat, because they had no air conditioning in that fucking place. It was a very old building, and what they do is they just leave the entrance doors open to let a breeze in there, but that didn't work. And they'd want me to wear a tie, my shirt buttoned up, and slacks, you know, like sort of like a dress outfit without the coat. I'll tell you, that ain't very comfortable when it's 90 degrees indoors. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know, that's what they did. And my job was basically running back and forth to, well, first putting stuff on the floor. Second was to do price checks, because back in them days we didn't have a computer to automatically look it up. All right, so I had to run back there, get a microfiche, you know, piece of clear plastic with information on it, to find the price of things on that. That's how we did it back then. Talk about you know, you have to keep everything organized on the desk so you know where to get to grab. That would take a bit. I got really fast at doing it, okay, but you know, people hate to wait these days in line for price checks. Well, talk about waiting in line back in the 80s for a price check that's printed on a microfiche plastic. Okay, you got to have patience. You know, the patience of a you know, of a corpse to be able to put up with that. Okay, so today when we stand in line waiting for price checks today, it's really not that long for us anyway, because they can either find it right there at the register, or somebody just goes and gets you know, right to where they find it, and they just use a scanner to get it, and that's it, you know. So it's done really fast, so that's progress for you. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much all I want to talk about today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the Labor Day weekend. So please subscribe and comment. Keep your ears open for COVID-19 and monkeypox news. And treat each other nice out there, people, okay? Let's keep this wind of positive change going by keeping people's spirits up, because we have to recover our mood from so much misery that we've had to go through. It's very important for us to keep our spirits up. So let's try and do that. So I'll talk to you later.